Dak Prescott headlines QB hate. Dallas didn't really add anything, Matthew, to help out Dak. The offensive line has lost pieces and is much younger, and the Cowboys just seem to be on the treadmill of mediocrity a bit at the moment.
As a Commanders fan, I love it. I love it when Jerry says we're all in and then they don't do anything for 2 straight years. But, yeah, fantasy-wise, I feel bad for Dak, right? No wide receiver tight end drafted. Here's the wide receiver depth chart behind CeeDee Lamb. Jalen Tolbert, Kevontae Turpin, Jonathan Mingo.
The big acquisition last year, Jonathan Mingo.
Jonathan Mingo. 2021, that was the last time the Cowboys had a wide receiver not named CeeDee Lamb reach 700 yards. You think 700 yards in today's NFL is not tough to get to, and yet literally the only wide receiver since 2021 that's had at least 700 yards for the Cowboys is CeeDee Lamb. Amari Cooper did it in 2021. That's the last non-Lamb wide receiver to do it for the Cowboys. It's shocking to me. And then you thought, well, maybe because they were rumored to be they were rumored to be in the mix for Genty. Obviously, he goes before they picked, but could they have picked Hampton? We thought maybe they would add some offensive weapon. And
Receiver at 12 was in play. Matthew
Right.
Golden, T-Mac went before them, which maybe changed their plans, but. Look at the first 3 picks. They're telling you what they want to do, which in fantasy for us is red flag. Guard, okay, we want to run the ball. Defense. Pass rusher and Donovan Ezeraku, Savone Revel, the corner from ECU, who's a hell of a player, and I think the Dallas defense is going to be very good this year. But they're telling you what they want to be in that division. We want to run the ball and play defense.
So a month to go in the 2023 season, Dak Prescott was the favorite to win MVP, and he ended up finishing second in MVP. He largely has the same weapons now that he did that year. He put up a monster fantasy season as well with a ton of passing volume. Do you think the offense is just too different, the O-line is worse, and just everything is kind of crated, or can he get back to being that player?
There's a lot different. I think he could be viable, but the MVP-level games, I don't think the defense will be bad enough to be put – Matthew, you always say this. Dak doesn't run anymore. Okay,
Correct.
So let's take that out of the equation, which is a very important factor. So then what does he have to be doing? He has to be playing in shootouts. Yeah. They're building a defense that doesn't want to play in shootouts, which good for them in the real NFL aspect of this, not good in fantasy.
And I would also argue, Jay, when you think back to that year, their division is much tougher now than it was 3 years ago. Obviously, the Eagles are absolutely loaded. My Commanders have made a lot of strong improvements. And listen, for all the Giants' issues, that defense is going to be very solid this year.
Very good.
The Giants, they've got 3 tough outs twice a year just in that division that they didn't have necessarily maybe 3 years ago when Dak was in that MVP conversation.
Yep. Okay, let's jump to the hottest topic of the month, Shedeur Sanders, and we heard Andrew Berry.
I'm not familiar.
Well,
fill me in.
We're going to learn about him.
Tell me more about this kid.
Andrew Berry spoke on the Browns drafting Shedeur.
We felt good with him as a person. He works hard. He's a really good kid. He wants to be great. His teammates, loved him in Colorado, and I know he'll come in here ready to work, ready to try and put his best foot forward in all areas of competition.
Okay. What's interesting about that quote? Not one does he mention anything about his playing ability. It's all about his attitude, and that his teammates.
Like they had to answer for the concerns around it.
All about his teammates loving him. All of his teammates who played for his father. Here's the thing. I got no idea on Shedeur Sanders, but we've talked about this. Certainly, no one lost more fantasy value than Shedeur Sanders, who a week before the draft, people were talking about this guy might be the starting quarterback of the Giants, right? And obviously, they go out and get Jackson Dart instead. And now he's, I would argue, 4th, maybe 5th. It depends on Watson, I suppose, what do we want to do with Watson. But put him aside. He's 4th on the depth chart in Cleveland. You know what I mean? And you look at the rest of that depth chart. Comeback player of the year, Joe Flacco. Kenny Pickett.
Two-time coach of the year. Kevin Stefanski runs this team, by the way.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that he's a coach of the year, but he's a 2-time coach of the year. And then you think about Dylan Gabriel, who they drafted 50 picks higher.
That's the problem.
So who do you think is more likely to see time for the Browns, Sanders or Gabriel?
Well, based on talent, Shedeur Sanders, but that's not how the NFL always works. If you take a guy in the 3rd round, theoretically, he's getting more reps than the guy who took in the 5th round. Where are all the reps for these guys?
Why take Gabriel in the 3rd and then take Sanders in the 5th? Do you think they just didn't expect Sanders to be there in the 5th, and they're like, all right, you can never have too many quarterbacks?
There's 2 reasons. That's number 1. Number 2, the owner came over the top and said, take Shedeur Sanders. And this is an owner that, when it comes to quarterback, comes over the top. So now if you're the front office, you want to prove your process right. And the coach is obviously, it's Kevin Stefanski. He's involved with the quarterbacks they take. You would think, theoretically, they're going to give Dylan Gabriel an upper hand out of the gate because of where they drafted him. I think Shedeur is more talented. I think this is a disastrous quarterback situation all around.
Well, the other problem, too, is that even if Sanders does get time and start, he's behind a suspect offensive line that has been good in the past, but has been very banged up and is getting older, and then not a great deal of weapons.
They traded out of drafting Travis Hunter, which is one thing that would have made you feel really good about this situation.
Yeah, by the way, last year the Browns 28th in quarterback fantasy points. Like, it's not a high-powered offense, and you think about what Stefanski likes to do. I mean, it's a little similar to Dallas. Like, they want to run the ball and play good defense. Like, that's what the Browns – I mean, I know under Flacco they were, like, flying high and, like, kind of crazy, and Jameis had some insane games last year. But I think that so they had to do what they had to sort of do last year, and they just – but, like they obviously didn't want any more of the Jameis experience. They didn't bring him back, right? And so I think they're going to want to – you look at what they did do, drafting Judkins, drafting Dylan Sampson, like, they're going to want to run the ball, I think. And so – even if Shedeur Sanders is the starting quarterback for the Browns at one point this year, I don't know that you feel great about his fantasy prospects. So just in terms of draft capital and the team that he lands in and the situation and competition, his fantasy value obviously took a big hit on draft day.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.